Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I've got a really cool book that I picked up at Mocha. This is EMOLAND. The artist goes by AEEMI, but it looks like on Gmail is Amy Chang. So I think this is a book by Amy Chang, but going by the artist name AEEMI. And this is from the Wildflower Bookstore. Looks like the person who printed it. The thing that really drew me to it, just the really bright, beautiful rhizo colors. But also, it was in this package with all of these, like, just little glitter hearts and stuff like that. So I thought the presentation all the way throughout, even packaged, just seemed to be giving a very particular artistic vision, and I really like that. So I flipped through the little copy they have. I was like, yeah, I got to get that. But the big thing about it that drew me in was just the use of the risograph, and then I don't know how many colors are in this, but a significant amount of colors used to put these pages together. So it's pretty much a bunch of like little one or page or two page spread type of stories for the most part. There's a couple that are longer that just deal with issues of emotions and things like that. So it's not like a complex read all the way through. It's more like a series of one-off jokes, but it's so just gorgeous to look at. I mean, you can see all the intensity of the colors. And of course, if you've seen the risograph with the kind of fluorescent colors, then you'll know how much of this probably isn't translating on screen. But like those fluorescent yellows and oranges and pinks and stuff are just really, really intense and perfect for this style. Like when I looked this artist up on Instagram, you get all the same style, but actually the art's less interesting to me because you get those colors on screen, but they don't have the same kind of visceral impact that you get when you have those actual like kind of fluorescent inks. So I really just enjoy the physical quality of this book. There's also a couple points in the book where things have been tipped in. So it like all the way throughout, from the glitter in the package to these tipped in to the risograph, everything about this feels very couture and handmade. This actually says it's the third edition, so this must be selling pretty well for wherever they're landing their normal audience. And I think that's great. I think it's great that people are expecting more and more out of their physical books, that, if it's not going to be digital, it has to kind of not justify itself, but it has to grapple with the fact that it's a physical thing. So here's in the middle, there's another tip in. My only problem with the tip ins is they're like glued in rather than stapled in. It would have been nice if they were stapled because it's a little hard to fold them. But the book is staple bound. There's just not a staple in the middle. I think that like having two staples like right in the middle, I don't know. I guess it's nice to see this without the staple in the middle when you fold it out, but it does make like folding it for the story a little bit harder. But yeah, really cool. Like here's this little door in this story, and like you can see other parts of the surroundings here, and then it opens up. And again, like the intensity of these colors, it's beautiful to look at. It's intense, but it's really beautiful. And this is like the heartbreak ride emotional roller coaster. So again, this is just someone dealing, with emotions. And then there's one more, let's see, there was one more tip-in piece here. I think this is the other ones I really like visually, but I think this one works best in that it's not in the middle. So the glue job works best, and it really like lines up with the artwork both ways. And so this is an interesting way, I think, of instead of having a page turn to land the joke, you kind of just have a panel embedded in there. So this also seems like formally the most compelling use of this trick for comics. And I think, who knows how much it costs to get stuff like this done, or if these artists are having to do this by themselves. But I think more and more stuff like this, in especially graphic novels and comics, because we are so visual, I think there's a lot of chances for this kind of stuff, or clear vellums that flip over, lots of things like that. So anytime I see a book like this that's really playing with the physicality of books, I get really excited. And then when the art's so beautiful and the jokes are funny and everything like that, it just adds up to a really, really enjoyable package. Unfortunately, from what I could tell looking at Amy Chang's Instagram, this is like the only comics project that Amy has done so far. There's a lot of illustration and stuff, which makes sense for the style, but hopefully this artist will produce more books like this, and I'm definitely trying to keep an eye on this Wildflower Books This was at a table of artists from Taiwan. There were two books that I grabbed. The other one was just a couple illustrations, so it'll probably be in like an overview of Mocha type of video. But both of them were very, very visually beautiful and really focused on clean visual production. So I'm definitely like interested in this Wildflower bookstore as a publisher as well, because they have quite a lot of beautiful stuff and a really interesting, compelling sensitivity. I think this was probably the busiest table that I saw there. I saw these things kind of from a distance and really had to wait my turn to go up and get a hold of them. And there was a lot of young girls over there engaged with this kind of stuff. So I think there's this like, hopefully it looks like a blossoming of like a really, really different market than we're used to in comics, that does cute and things like that, that's going to speak to a young artistic female audience. You know, it's just a really different thing than what I'm used to in comics, and I love it. I think it's great. So if that's a publisher that's really chasing this aesthetic down, that's a publisher I'm going to be really on board with. If not, that would be a huge disappointment, but I would love to know if people have recommendations of other places where books that are being made like this, that look like this. I would love to know, because I think it's beautiful. So if you can, definitely go get yourself a copy of it. I think this is like a, you know, future influencer on a lot of books, or if it is coming from something else, I would really like to know where. So yeah, thanks for following along with this video. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel, getting exposed to different comics like this, different kind of things within the medium, and you want to support us, there's two ways to do that. The first one is through our Patreon. We have two different tiers of engagement there, and you know, really any of the money that we make with that just helps us when we go on a book buying sprees like this. So we just try and put this back into the industry in some way and keep you all exposed to cool new things. So we really appreciate that help. And then if you want to support Living the Line itself, the best thing to do is to buy some of the books that Sean has coming out through Living the Line Publishing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at one of those now. Plaza by Yokoyama Yuichi. This is translated by Ryan Holmberg and is very large for a manga. So that's a really cool feature of this book, this standard manga size. And this is just a 200 some odd page representation of what Yokoyama Yuichi thinks of the Carnival Parade. And he's just made this like relentlessly loud and rhythmic book that pushes all kinds of amazing boundaries of what comics and manga are. And we could not recommend this book more. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.